Lexington Road in Concord. One of the first things I noticed about Lexington Road is that I have to walk on it to get anywhere. You have to walk on the road here in Concord and throughout Concord because there is no sidewalks. There's something like sidewalks, and if they're not mud, and they're paved, then they're full of ice. So there's no sidewalks. Which probably in the middle of summer, the high season here, it is great and wonderful and quite quaint. Okay, but here in February, it's troublesome, and I'm hoping here at midday, to have no troubles with the cars here February 10th in Concord. Hopefully it's too early for the parties or such. I hope so. Back in Boston for that. Back on the parking ride. Here we have come to a fork in the road. We got Lexington Road on the left, and we got Route 2, which I believe is State, on the right. Okay? Now, a famous Yankee by the name of Yogi Berra once said, when asked, what do I do when I come to a fork in the road, Yogi? And Yogi said, well, you take it. Anyways, we're at the fork in the road here. And we are just going to take this Route 2 for 1 second here, because off the normal road, off the famous road here in Concord, at the fork in the road, is the home of Ralph Waldo Emerson, an American author who kind of took his own road in his writings and in his philosophies and such, and in turn transformed and American literature for the rest of the country and eventually the world from here on out. Here is the homestead of Ralph Waldo Emerson. He called it the bush. You can see, like, after 200 years, it's certainly, there's no hotels or Holiday Inns nearby. You can see why it was titled as such. It is closed for the season, sadly enough, but this is where he lived, and I imagine that's carriage or horse over there, and this was the home for him and his family. Okay. All right. Now, catty-corner to him, if I don't kill myself getting over there, crossing the road, you have, let's see, let's get back on the main road, the Lexington Road here, and a different story, but a variation of sorts on the main theme here in Concord. If I didn't mix metaphors on that one, it's a miracle. All right. What you have here on the left, we are now back on Concord. Just orient you. There is the Emerson house. Okay, here on Lexington is the Concord Museum. Okay, which I am looking forward to visiting later today when I retrace my footprints along the road here and collect all the breadcrumbs I'm leaving to remember the way. Okay, the Concord Museum, so it should be fascinating. I'm really looking forward to that. About a week or two, 3 weeks ago or so, they had a Henry David Thoreau exhibit there that I'll also tell you about. Stay tuned. It gets better. Here, okay, so you have the museum, and down there away you see they are building like an education center of some sort down here, attached onto the museum. Okay, they are going to have like a learning center or an education center. All right. So, all right, and that's the museum, but we're headed down the road to the turn in the road, and let's see where the story goes. Okay, we are just down the road now from the Concord Museum along Lexington Road, and we have come to this place on Lexington Road, which has a marker here saying that this site used to be the site of the home of Dr. Samuel Prescott. Now you say, who's Samuel Prescott? Where have I heard Prescott before? Well, it's a lot like a Thoreau or an Emerson. Prescott is another name you hear a lot of. There's a Captain Prescott, I believe, who has a statue on Bunker Hill. Okay, this is not Captain, the site of Captain Prescott. This is the site of Dr. Prescott. Okay, now why should I care? Well, Dr. Prescott was one of 3 men here in Concord who took off when the battle began here in earnest at the North Bridge. And he, Paul Revere, and a man by the name of Dawes took off for Boston. I don't think it was a Pinto that they rode. I think they were more horses, natural horses, but I think it was a car. But anyway, they took off for Boston. And it was only Dr. Prescott who got through. Dawes and Revere both were captured. Okay? And it was Captain Prescott who got through to the city, and such lanterns were lit in the Old North Church after the gun battle at the North Bridge. And the shot heard around the world. That Emerson would write in his poem, The Concord Hymn. he'd leave it to Longfellow to make the hero out of Paul Revere. And while Emerson wrote about the shot heard around the world, it was actually Emerson's grandfather who not only heard it, but saw it from the manse not far from the North Bridge here in Concord. And this is the Orchard House. Louisa May Alcott's Orchard House. This is where she wrote Little Women. Okay. And, all right, I'll take a gander. Is that the cutest thing you have ever seen in your life? I don't know. Is there room to play here or what? Is that gorgeous? Okay. Now, I want to note here the cars parked here. Okay. And it is off the road of Lexington. Okay. There is like this abutment here. Well, I don't know what you would call it, like a lane here, parking, I guess, here. Okay, that you don't find in too many other places here in Concord. And it's interesting that they have this. There's Lexington, and then here you have this little turnoff here on Alcott Road, which then leads to private residences up in the hills there, the road there. But you have this little like parking space here, which obviously did not come with the Orchard House. Okay, it was obviously the city of Concord had to put in this kind of little like area off Lexington Road, so people either can park here and go to the Orchard House, you know, when it's open, or people can turn off here and take pictures of the Orchard House if it's closed. Okay. In any case, no one, you know, it is a safety kind of thing to get people in their cars off Lexington Road so they don't kill themselves or destroy their car, or both, when they see Louisa May's Orchard House here along Lexington Road. I have not seen that kind of let's say a respect for a historic site on a road, except for one place, Graceland in Memphis. Graceland in Memphis, so many people would stop the car on, and Elvis Presley Boulevard was then like a 4-lane road or a highway or of sorts or something, but people would actually, there was no turnover. It was like people would just pull off the road of this highway and take pictures of Graceland. And so, you know, the Presley family was so worried and so concerned about people stopping in the middle of the road that they asked the city of Memphis to put in like a turn lane or turn off lane, so people will not be injured or kill themselves trying to take pictures or trying to, stopping in the middle of the road. I have not seen that kind of thing in how long, but I saw it here years later at the Orchard House. Louisa May Alcott's home and the site of Little Women. Okay. Down the road we go, and the story continues here. I'll meet you down right around that bend there. You see where that car is going? Let's see what's around that corner as our story continues. Okay, now just around the bend here from the Alcott, the Louisa May Alcott Orchard House down here in Lexington, as we passed by the Alcott Road and we come up to the Hawthorne Lane there. We come to another fork in the road, and this one we're gonna stay right on with the rest of Concord here on Lexington, because to the left here is what is called the Wayside, and this used to be, I believe, the home of the Alcotts, if I'm not mistaken, and it was home to a lot of writers, actually. Hawthorne stayed here. He stayed here for a while. Alcott stayed here. Okay, this used to be another... And all of these writers knew each other. There was just like Boston had their, Saturday club, the writers here in Concord had their own meeting kind of thing here. Okay. So here you have the Wayside. Okay, another. And this is government owned. And it's closed, unfortunately, seasonal. But, yeah, this is the site where the Alcotts once lived. Or moving further down there, the road, and Hawthorne lived after he came back to Concord after being away for some time. Probably cooling his heels because he was thrown out of the manse for not paying rent to the Emersons. But when he came back to Concord, he stayed here. So. And I'm sure that's the reason why you have Hawthorne Road down there. And parking further down. Lexington Road, this is Concord. And we're at the Wayside.